You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Whoa! Okay. I'm ready.
Welcome to Split Your Head, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by me, Bob, that covers the gamut of all things horror, exploitation, cult, underground, experimental, transgressive, bizarre, and indie. I've been fortunate enough to connect with some of the most groundbreaking and upcoming filmmakers, writers, and artists. Don't expect a typical interview. I love shooting the shit with my guests and stumbling on surprising topics that'll literally split our heads. From splatter comedies to nihilistic sleaze, uncomfortable art house to genre classics. If it gets my brain buzzing and cracking wide open like a watermelon full of blood, then I would like to share it with your ears. Now a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. Hi, Mom.
The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 387 is my beautiful wife, Gabrielle Proctor.
Hello.
It has been a shit show over here.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to let everybody know. What we had, no idea.
No, but it was an illness that made us most ill.
Yeah, not ill in the fun, hip way. Ill as in sick as fuck. Yeah, man, we were supposed to. So this episode is like a week late. Goddamn this month for having 5 fucking Wednesdays. The first was a Wednesday, so we were already off to a bad start because we got sick. When the fuck did we get sick? The Friday before the first of the month. What is time? I don't even like.
We got sick over a week ago.
Over a week ago.
And we're still struggling with the remnants of this
I can't
illness.
hear out of my left ear.
I can't hear out of my right.
Let's talk about this later. Today on the first installment of Julycanthropes Howl, we're discussing our essential pick, Silverbullet, from 1985. A movie where the werewolf should be the coolest thing, but really, it's the motorized wheelchair.
Accurate.
Let's see where this lands on the Nightmare Index. Wait, did you say accurate?
Yeah.
I was joking.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't like this, did you?
We're going to talk about it.
God damn it. Where's Jason when I need him? He loves a good small town.
You know what movies would have locked me in. You did this to yourself.
Look, I know everyone's going to be complaining out there, oh, American Werewolf in London's fucking essential. No, it's not. Okay? That movie is mid at best with a great transformation. Okay? Just throwing it. I mean, hot takes right out of the gate.
Really?
I feel like everyone, you know what? We're just going to save it. I don't want to piss everyone off. Someone from Christmas, Florida will not stop fucking bugging me. This is the 6th call. Anyways, I'm in a mood today. This sickness, I'm not down with it anymore. It's been horrible. So that's why this episode is so late. I'm going to have to scramble to get the rest of the month out. And we're on vacation next week. So it's totally going to be a 10 out of 10 experience. What have you been watching recently?
Oh, gosh. What haven't I been watching? Let's see. I've been really hitting up some Bette Midler movies for reasons. Just watched Outrageous Fortune, which I had never seen, which is her and, oh crap, what's the other actress's name? Diane from Cheers. Shelley Long. There we go. And that movie, I can't believe I've never seen before. It was so much fun. It was such a delightful watch. I will absolutely be rewatching it because it's 2 actresses who absolutely hate each other the minute they meet each other. But it turns out they're both sleeping with the same dude who also happens to be a spy. And it's so silly, but their chemistry is excellent. Also has one of the most amazing reveals of a character in disguise I've ever seen. I showed that to you. I made you come in the room and watch it because I was laughing so hard.
The non-reveal reveal.
It was so good. Like
that was
Mission Impossible could never.
No, they
too good.
they wish
they could make it that amazing.
Half that good.
Yeah, and then I also checked out Ruthless People again, which I love that one with her and Danny DeVito.
That's why we watched Matilda the other day.
Because I've been watching Danny DeVito movies too.
Yeah.
And also watched First Wives Club again. And checked out Juror Number 2, a Clint Eastwood flick from 2 years ago. That movie was excellent. Finally saw the 2006 masterpiece Stick It.
Stick It?
Where the girls
Do you mean Stuck on You?
No, Stick It. The gymnastics movie.
Oh.
With like 47 needle drops. James Gunn never had so many needle drops in his life.
Did he direct that?
No, he's just famous for his needle drops. Yeah, but I've been just kind of checking out some feel-good movies. Finally saw Shall We Dance with Greg Kinnear and Jennifer Lopez. Also, not Greg Kinnear. What's his name? He got gray hair. Richard Gere.
Greg Kinnear, Richard Gere.
They rhyme.
Fucking
And
potato, tomato.
Jennifer Lopez, also just a warm soup of a movie. It's so cozy, so nice.
See, that's interesting because soup has been used recently on this podcast
In a negative way.
to describe Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and it's just a soupy mess in your eyes. But you're saying this is like Campbell's chicken noodle. Like
Shall We Dance is such a cozy movie. You're just like, I feel warm inside. I feel joy. I forgot I could feel that from watching a film. That's how it makes you feel. And lastly, I watched The Associate with Whoopi Goldberg.
Didn't you fucking watch Made in Manhattan or some shit the other day too when we were all
Kate
sick?
Leopold, The Wedding Date.
Good Lord.
I've been watching The Wedding Planner.
Okay. What did I say?
Made in Manhattan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Wedding Planner is what you're thinking of. But let me tell you that if you are not there, just know that The Associate, while an otherwise very silly movie, has like a 20-second jump scare from your least favorite person to ever make a cameo. And you're like, oh, God, it's so long. And why is he in it so much? And if you can think of one person who frequently loved to pay to put himself in movies in the 80s and 90s, it's that guy who sucks. And it was it was way too long. It was a fucking jump scare. I think I literally went, no.
Oh my.
So, and that's what most of the reviews are about for that movie, by the way, are just why was this in here and why?
Interesting.
Watching a lot of comedy.
Well, all right. I have. I thought I watched a lot more stuff than I have, but apparently I haven't.
What number yet?
I don't care. This isn't a fucking competition. I recently just did my 2-3 load stats. My 300th film was Anaconda.
Oh.
Yeah. What?
I'm at 425.
Good for you. Like, what the fuck do you want from me? The 1 year you're ahead of me in movies and you just constantly throw it in my face. I don't understand.
I like that I started this for extremely petty reasons and now it's just for fun, but.
Well, joke's on you because I'm not catching up. Anyways.
You don't know. I could get sucked into a show.
That's true. So let's go to the old diary here. We talked about all this shit. I mean, we've literally talked about all of this. We talked about Tough Turf and the New Kids, right? Hunt for the Wilder People. Didn't we talk about that?
Hunt for the Wilder People?
Whatever.
You and I personally talked about it. We didn't talk about it on here.
Did we not?
No.
I don't know where I am. The last movie that we covered on the show was Gamera versus Varas. I feel like I talked about Anaconda and Forbidden Fruits and Leviticus. I don't fucking remember. Forbidden Fruits was mid. It was not great.
I felt like it was going to be different than it was. I didn't hate it, but I feel like
not a fan.
It wasn't like what they were trying to do wasn't fully formed.
Yeah, wasn't a fan. Apologies, I didn't go back and listen to the other episode, even though I probably should have. Yeah, Forbidden Fruit's not that great. It made me not like what's-her-face, the girl, bent neck lady.
Yes.
I love her in everything. And Victoria Pedretti. Not a fan of her in this. I don't like a movie that makes me not like her. Leviticus, basically a Queer It Follows, and yet somehow completely different. Fucking amazing. 4.5. I feel like I've definitely said that. We watched something called Lair of the White Worm. Don't know what the fuck that movie was. 2.5. I was also in like a drug-induced coma with all of the medicine we were taking. So I'm going to need to rewatch that when I have more clarity.
I just liked watching it, and you're like, isn't this a movie about vampires? I'm like, yeah, but also they keep calling it a worm, but also they seem to be snakes. So I don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
And if you're wanting like a full explanation on that,
good luck.
There isn't one.
Rewatched for no reason at all, other than the fact that I wanted to laugh and was just painfully sick. Watched Borat 1 and 2, 4.5 for the first Borat, 4 for the second Borat. We watched a new movie for this year called Monkey's Magic Merry-Go-Round on Shudder. And don't let the 2024 release date confuse you, because it definitely came out this year. It just took a while to actually release. Someone was on drugs making that, I believe. It was a wild time. Think Mr. Rogers, but like it's like Mr. If
you've ever seen Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, it's like that.
It's the same people?
No, it's like that mixed with Mr. Rogers. And if you know those two things, then you're good. You know what you're getting into.
It's kind of like, what was that other one that Hulu did, that original one about the TV star abducting kids?
Yeah, Mr. something or other.
Mr. Crockett?
Yeah.
It's like that, but there's no abduction of kids. This guy's just on a show and he goes nuts, and it's like, what's reality?
Yeah.
Where are we? So that one was fun. 3 stars. I watched another new movie for this year called The Voices of Our Mother, directed by Mark O'Brien. If Mark O'Brien does not sound familiar, he directed, wrote, and starred in a movie called The Righteous, which is essentially about 90 minutes of just straight dialogue, and it's some of the best dialogue I've ever heard in a movie. It's like Quentin Tarantino style, like the dialogue's just so well done.
Yeah.
Minus all the, slurs and racial fucking slurs, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that shit. Minus all the negative parts of Quentin Tarantino. This one was really good. I don't understand the hate. It's got like a 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I quite enjoyed this. There's like demonic possession and a bloodline and Satan and right up my alley. 3.5 out of 5. And then for my cult movie challenge, I don't know what the fuck week I'm supposed to be on, but this is the life I'm living. It was Kim Ji-woon week, and I was going to watch A Tale of Two Sisters. I've been wanting to watch that for quite some time. Impossible to find. Don't know why. Not streaming anywhere. Couldn't buy a physical copy. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch I Saw the Devil. Oh no. I was going to show that to you. I didn't own that movie. Oh, okay. And the cheapest copy I could find was $45. Cool. I guess I'll rent it. Can't rent it. All right, fuck this. I'm done. I just gave up. And I filtered through his movies, found something called The Quiet Family, which I had never heard of before. A family decides to buy a lodge in a remote hiking area. Their first customer commits suicide, and the distraught family buries his body to avoid the bad publicity. But their luck gets worse. The bodies start piling up, and the family becomes frantic to rectify the situation. It's like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, except instead of a couple of redneck goofballs, it's an entire family who just find themselves in the worst possible situation.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
It's like a South Korean Tucker and Dale versus Evil, focused around a family and not just two guys. But one of the familiar faces I know, Song Kang-ho from Parasite, Snowpiercer, Memories of Murder, The Host, Bong Joon-ho's like muse, I guess if you want to call it. He's in that.
Yes, I can only assume that Bong Joon-ho has a shrine of him somewhere.
Has to.
Just like a photo of him on his desk, and he just goes, what am I going to write for you now?
He's incredible in this, as he is in everything, and this is probably the youngest I've ever seen him, because A Quiet Family was from 1998. This one is streaming on Prime if you want to check it out. It is a delightfully dark comedy horror thing going on. It has a 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I gave it a 4. If you want to check out my full review, you can go find the Cult Movie Challenge list I have and check it out. I don't know what next week is, and I'm probably already behind on that. But like I said, we've been sick for 12 days. The last time I was sick this long was fucking COVID. I think this was worse than COVID, what we had. I'd say it was worse because every day I woke up with new symptoms. It was chills and a fever. Then it was like a headache. Then it was an earache. Then it was dizziness. Fuck this, whatever this is.
Yeah, I was postpartum when I had COVID, so I was still healing from a C-section, and our baby had...
Is that when you got COVID?
Yeah, so I'm going to say COVID was worse for me because I couldn't
Okay.
be around my baby, and then I was sick with a fever that made it feel like my eyelids were
No,
on
that's
fire.
fair. That's fair. For me, though, I mean, I was just sitting in my office watching Dawn of the Dead and zombie movies, and it was the same level of annoyance.
And I had an open wound on my
with
stomach.
the sickness.
so-
Yeah, that's not fun. So I'd say whatever I got was worse than my experience with fucking COVID. It's terrible. Some viral infection. And the doctors are just like, it'll go away on its own. My favorite kind of sickness. CMC week for next week is, Sharksploitation. And I think I'm just going to do Deep Water. I think we have to.
Yeah.
I was going to do Jaws 2 because I haven't seen it.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. And then there's Jaws 3, The Revenge or something. So let's just do Deep Water. So that'll be on the next episode. I'm going to save the rest of my titles for the next episode because I'm going to have to record so many back to back to back. But we're also getting into the Medea franchise, which is a whole other story that I'll save for later. So with that being said, let's roll into the body count. Fucking mouse. Scroll it. All right, so this is Silver Bullet from 1985, released on October 11th of that year in the USA. Rated R, there is no sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, moderate profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and moderate frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at an hour and 35 minutes, listed as a straight horror, nothing else. Directed by Daniel Attias. This is literally the only movie he ever directed. He has 93 credits for TV and directed 20 episodes of Beverly Hills 90210. So there you go. Written by Stephen King, and I don't mean like based off of the novella. This movie was based off the novella, but Stephen King actually wrote the screenplay for this movie. He also wrote screenplays for Creepshow, Maximum Overdrive, and Pet Sematary. All three movies that he makes a cameo in, and for some fucking reason, he was like, you know what? Don't need a cameo in Silver Bullet. All right. Thanks, bro. Really would have appreciated that. Composed... What?
I'm just going to throw this out there.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
And I'm so sorry for whoever this upsets. Because believe me, I think Maximum Overdrive is a hilarious good time. I feel like Stephen King's stronger when he writes the story and then someone else comes in and makes it a functioning movie.
I highly disagree.
And that's your choice.
Creepshow, 4 stars. Maximum Overdrive, 4 stars. Pet Sematary, 4 stars. If you're keeping up with the trend, you can pretty much guess my rating for this one. So I highly disagree. I highly disagree because
I knew you would. I guess that's my hot take. I'm just throwing it out early.
Yeah, no, I like when he comes in because then he has the ability to change all of his endings because all of his endings people fucking hate. So I'm sure the Cycle of the Werewolf had a different ending and he's like, let's fucking change that shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, composed by Jay Chataway. He also composed Maniac and then Maniac Cop 1 and 2, separate movies, just so we're all clear. And then a combined 183 episodes of Star Trek working on the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, not Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise, which is fucking crazy. Cinematography by Armando Nanuzzi. He also did the cinematography for like so much Italian cinema. Maximum Overdrive and Frankenstein Unbound. Then we have edited by David Lowenthal, who also edited Madman, Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, and Alien from LA. Starring Gary Busey as Uncle Red, who literally everybody should know. I'm not telling you who he is. Everett McGill is Reverend Lowe. He was also in 30 episodes of Twin Peaks as Big Ed Hurley. Corey Haim is Marty Coleslaw, even though I'm going to call them Coleslaw because it's funnier. He was in The Lost Boys as Sam, which is crazy because that was 2 years later, and he literally looks like an entirely different human being in that.
Puberty happens, man.
Puberty happens so fast. Megan Follows as Jane Coleslaw, who I'm just going to mention because you'll kill me if I don't. She
That's
was in Anne of Green Gables as Anne Shirley.
Yeah, she was.
Ah!
Hey, look, anybody who knows anything knows that show is iconic.
It's a 2-part mini series.
Anne of Green Gables has 2 spin-offs, Anne of Avonlea and I can't remember the other one, like Anne Returns.
Oh,
or something
sounds like
that.
you're not a fan.
But then you have Anne with an E that they did, which was a reboot of that on Netflix, which did get canceled. And no shade to the girl who played Anne because she did a great job, but she is not Megan Follows. Megan Follows was also Catherine de Medici in every season of Reign, and she crushed the hell out of that role. She was so evil, and yet for the longest time I'd stare at her and I'd go, "You're literally poisoning people. Why do I trust you?" Oh my God, it's Anne Shirley.
That was so much brain rot for me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really funny how you get just so adjusted to a character, whether it's like you watch someone who you only see as evil, so when they're good in a show, you're just like, "I don't fucking trust you."
It's the complete.
I don't know why.
It's the complete opposite with what's his face, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He's always like the good guy, and then you see him in Green Room, and you're like, "What the fuck? Why are you a Nazi?"
In my heart, I trust you, but everything you're doing is bad. Yeah, that show, she's like, "I poison people, and I lie, and I kill," and you're like, and yet in my heart,
Okay.
I'm like, she's probably good deep down, I think.
Probably. She probably has good motives. Robin Groves as Nan Coleslaw, who's also in The Nesting as Lauren Cochran. Leon Russum as Bob Coleslaw. He was in 30 episodes of Prison Break as Jonathan Krantz. And then we have Terry O'Quinn as Sheriff Joe Holler. He was also in The Stepfather, which we just recently watched as Jerry Blake.
I like how long it took us to notice who it was him because he changed his hair so much in The Stepfather.
He's fucking a man of disguises. I didn't recognize him playing a sheriff.
It follows onto the track that, yeah, I can see why people didn't know Clark Kent was Superman.
I'm throwing this movie in the canon that this was just another role he was filling in his reign of terror. Because, I mean, this is only 2 years before The Stepfather. So it's just my little headcanon that he's still Jerry Blake. Estimated budget of $7 million, only grossing $12.4 million. Filmed in Burgaw and Wilmington, North Carolina. Check this out on Prime for $5.99. I guess I said fuck you to the movies that came out around the same time. That's been happening.
Oh, no.
It's been happening a lot lately. I can tell you that The Howling came out around this time. I can tell you that Friday the 13th Part 2 came out in 1981. American Werewolf in London was 1981. Blowout was 1981. So there you go. There's some movies.
I've seen all of those.
Yeah, you have. IMDb summary: in a small town, brutal killings start to plague the close-knit community. Marty Coleslaw, a paraplegic boy, is convinced the murders are the doings of a werewolf. Let's go into the autopsy. I'm upset that you didn't like this movie, but tell me your overall thoughts. It's fine.
I didn't say I hated it.
I'll get over it. Just tell me your overall thoughts.
It wasn't as exciting as I had hoped it would be. So that... I didn't hate it, but
What a ringing endorsement. I didn't hate it.
I mean, I don't know what you want from me, man. I didn't feel a strong connection to the characters. I didn't feel a sense that the characters, like the family didn't feel like a family to me. I mean, outside of the uncle and the 2 kids, but like the parents just felt like completely devoid of human connection. They literally just only spoke to berate the sister, which I get is from the sister's POV, but it's like, does this family even like each other? Do you guys really even care about sending your parents away? Because they don't seem to care about you. Also, terrible parents. They're like letting their kids scooter off in a wheelchair all over the fucking place. Not a clue where he is.
It's the 70s, man. It was a different time.
But I did really appreciate the small, because just didn't feel like there was a lot of moments of like real human connection in there, and I really like when those happen in films, like where what?
Okay, no, I'm gonna let you finish.
But like the moment where he feels guilty about his friend paying that very bizarre prank on his sister, being a real dick for no reason.
Yeah.
And he feels guilty, so he gives her money for new pantyhose. That was a really sweet moment. Like I really enjoyed that moment where he's like, I shouldn't have let my friend play that trick on you, and I didn't think he'd take it that far, and I'm sorry I hurt you.
And then she throws it right back in his face in a good way, saying, I don't need this much money. It's only $1.49. Here's $1 back.
Yeah, that was a really sweet moment of human connection, but it was just it felt like it was missing some depth to me.
That's fine.
And I'm not saying it wasn't fun to watch, but there was just like I wish there had been a little more depth into the connection, and some parts were a little bit slow.
What was? Oh man, I should have got a fan. I should have picked someone who had never seen this movie before. That's on me. I mean, to be fair, I did also tell everyone that Corey and I were going to be doing American Werewolf in London, but sickness happened, and I'm just not the biggest fan of American Werewolf in London. I'm not.
And I like that one better. So
well, fucking everyone.
I mean, it's not my favorite werewolf
does.
movie. We all know my favorite werewolf movie, and I don't care what the rating is. I'll die on that hill.
What?
It's cursed. It's
always
cursed.
Well, yeah, I get that. My overall thoughts is this movie fucking rocks. I love a small town setting. You get so much werewolf action in this. He's on hind legs, big ears. This is like exactly the werewolf I want to see when I watch a werewolf movie, unlike some movies where the werewolf is crawling on all fours and you barely get to see it for a 97-minute runtime. American Werewolf in London. Yeah, I just think this movie is just... The Howling would have been essential. That would have been the pick. But we already covered that last year. My dumbass, just had to do that one for 1981. That would have been essential. And I know everyone out there is like, oh, American Werewolf is the essential. I just don't... There's not enough werewolf in American Werewolf in London for me. You don't get the transformation until an hour into that movie. And before that, there's a glimpse of them being attacked in the beginning, and then you have a couple of like nightmares about werewolves, but you don't actually get werewolf transformation on screen until a fucking hour into the movie. And now silverbullet, you only get one transformation and it's in the third act, but you're still seeing the werewolf throughout the entire movie. That's my biggest problem with American Werewolf in London.
And see, for me, American Werewolf is not my favorite werewolf movie, but I like the movie because I really like this whole buildup where he's trying to like recover from losing his friend, recover from this really weird trip he just had in Europe. And, he's kind of just moving on with his life while this weird shit's still happening to him. And like deep down, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't really like, he's like, is it going to happen? Is it? That would be ridiculous if it happened. And I really just like that anticipation, and it's like, oh no, not only is it gonna happen, it's gonna fucking suck when it does. But
the title is An American Werewolf in London, so there's no stakes there. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
you're not suspicious that he's gonna turn. It's called An American Werewolf in London. He's the only American in London that we're following, so the transformation is imminent. There's no stakes.
Yeah, I get that, and maybe if the title had been different, it would work better for you.
It's also too long of a fucking title.
But I really like that anticipation and that build up. And sometimes I think werewolf movies have a really hard time because vampires, you want to see as much vampiring as possible. Werewolves, you have to find the fine line between not showing them too early or too often, but not undershowing them. Like there's a literal balance to that, because if you overdo it, it's like, the scariness loses its appeal because, frankly, it's really hard to make a convincing werewolf. It's a giant wolfman thing that's either going to be really CGI heavy or really it's going to be a man who's hairy or it's going to come off very puppety. So you have to find this really, really delicate balance. And I think that's where werewolf movies struggle. Not that they're not fun to watch.
Sorry, were you done?
No. I was just saying it's not that they're not fun to watch, but werewolf movies can so easily swing one way or the other that I think that's why they end up being so divisive for people, like whether or not they love them or hate them. And it especially matters how the werewolf looks.
Well, that's why I think The Howling is the best, because it perfectly balances the amount of werewolves, and we get just a metric fuck ton of transformations. Like, you get so many transformations in that movie. It's my favorite werewolf movie. It is absolutely the best. Rick Baker worked on that movie. He also worked on American Werewolf in London. That's why the effects are so good between both. But I think Silverbullet does an incredible job at giving you glimpses here and glimpses there and close-ups of his face, and then you don't get like the real full reveal until the third act. How they reveal the werewolf in Silverbullet is perfect. In American Werewolf in London, you get glimpses when they get attacked, and then you don't get anything else. Again, you get dream sequences. That's it. Those don't count. I'm sorry. You get a couple of dream sequences, and then you actually get the transformation at 59 minutes. That is too long in a werewolf movie where I'm not seeing enough werewolf outside of dreams. Again, not counting those. Like my issues with American Werewolf in London, one is David just fucking leaves Jack when he gets attacked. Straight up leaves. And then he's like, oh, I should probably turn around and help my friend. Yeah, it's too late. There's also a really gross comment made by one of the nurses, Nurse Gallagher. She mentions to Nurse Price that she's like, I think David is a Jew because she has already had a look, meaning she looked at his penis when he was unconscious. That's fucking gross. Just throwing that out there. And she devilishly smiles too. I took a picture for you to see, so you could see her face with how proud she is that she looked at his penis without his consent. And that's what she looks like right there. Deranged.
That's such a weird thing to say.
It's so gross.
It's like when people do that with like, kids getting changed. Oh, he's going to be a lady killer when he gets older. Why are you looking at his junk and commenting on it? It'll be weird.
Now, obviously, I know women don't go through circumcision, but you could think if the roles were reversed and someone made a male nurse made a comment about a woman's genitals, that would be like, what the fuck? That would be completely not okay. But here it's okay. That a nurse is just looking at his dick.
This was the time period where guys were movies frequently had dudes making secret peekaboo hole things to watch girls in showers.
Yeah.
So this was just like time, like, it doesn't matter if they said it's okay. I'm staring at them.
And then between that whole thing and then Nurse Price just taking David home, this hospital has the worst. They're the most unethical hospital to exist. I think the best part about this movie outside of the transformation is the dream David has with like the werewolves with machine guns. I want to watch that movie. Whatever that movie is, where they come busting in the door with machine guns. It's like Werewolves of the SSR fake trailer. I want to see that. Basically, 37 minutes of this movie is all in the hospital and nothing interesting happens. During the scene of the transformation, fucking Blue Moon by Richard Rodgers is playing, and it kind of ruins the whole transformation to begin with. There's entirely too much of David Naughton's dick and ass in this movie. He also drops an F-slur at one point, and being haunted by your friend who died at the beginning is one thing, but the theater scene where Jack is introducing David to all of the kills is just fucking silly. And this film is also very pro-suicide, because everyone just starts telling David to kill himself at one point. Those are my problems with American Werewolf in London.
What about the movie we're reviewing right now?
Here's 10 reasons why this movie is better.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was going to do 5 apiece, but it turned into 10. 1, this is a novella from Stephen King, and he also did the screenplay. 2, love him or hate him, Gary Busey is in this, and he's fucking awesome. Small town setting, a motorized wheelchair that gets better. You know what I mean? He what does he call? Soups it up. Werewolf POV. Don't get me wrong, there is some instances of werewolf POV in American Werewolf in London, but we actually get like the paw in front of the screen or in front of the camera when he's like climbing up. Great one-liners. The last name Marty Coleslaw is fucking hilarious. You also get the twist of the preacher being the werewolf, which was something I never saw coming when I first watched this. It ends on Halloween, and you get the transformation back into a human. There you go. There's my reasons why. So starting with kind of the opening here, I really enjoy the fact that it opens on a full moon, because that gives me the feeling that, all right, well, werewolves are going to be out, right? I mean, that's what this is, Silverbullet. Mm-hmm. Did it give you an immediate sense of unease by seeing that was the first shot of the movie was a full moon?
I thought, we're starting on the full moon.
Okay.
It was like, okay. I mean, honestly, that's pretty common with werewolf movies, though, because they're not really fucking around with the, let's give it a few days, then we'll get to the werewolf thing. Nah, you got to get to attack number 1 if you would like the story to progress in a forward motion.
And that's where I think this movie succeeds, because you have the town drunk on the railroad tracks doing, I don't even know. Did they explain what this man was doing?
He does minor track maintenance.
Yeah. So he's there. It's a full moon. And then, boom, chaos. Werewolf explodes out of the darkness and literally knocks Arnie's head clean off. I mean, we get a decapitation in this movie in under 5 minutes. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, also
Fucking
whoever
hilarious.
deemed that an oopsie he got drunk on the train tracks. Yeah, because the train wouldn't have moved his body from the tracks. His face wouldn't have been battered around like a ball under the train after it got detached from his head. Like, who's the coroner? Because they suck at their job.
I'm so glad you brought this up because one of the goofs I have written down that I'll just read now is when Arnie is killed at the beginning of the movie, the coroner concludes that he got drunk and fell asleep on the tracks, implying that the train took his head off. However, Arnie's track cart is parked only a few yards away on the same tracks that he supposedly died on and couldn't have died because of a train accident without causing a major accident. The cart, the body, and the tracks are all clearly visible.
Yeah, also, given you'd think they'd check the train schedule.
Well, he was the town drunk. What does he care? Or you think you're talking about the coroner?
Yeah, the coroner. Like the people, the fucking police department, no one did any investigating. They're like, he's drunk and decapitated. Happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We got a picnic to get to.
It's like the mayor in Jaws. Like, I don't care that there's a shark in the water. I mean, of course, at this point, they have no idea that there's a werewolf, but we've got a 4th of July party to happen. So the shark can stay in the water. Everyone, the beaches are open. So,
I mean, if you're going to go swimming, you got to expect sharks.
I just think that for a Stephen King adaptation, it's surprisingly savage. Like, that catches me off guard every time I watch it. I honestly, I don't know why. I just forget that he completely gets his head gooshed off of his body. It's just very un-Stephen King. You know what I mean?
I think you only think that because we've either seen Stephen King as adapted by big production.
Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, like Mike Flanagan, Kubrick, where they are more violent in their specific moments. Or you get TV miniseries Stephen King, where they can't show as much shit, so everything's toned down. Because if you actually got stuff to the degree it's described, this would not be shocking at all.
True.
I mean, geez, Rose Red is literally just a ratings issue as far as violence is concerned.
Yeah.
Because people are just like dying left and right in that thing.
That's true. But I love the coroner chalking it up to an accident because it doesn't make any sense. And it's one of those moments where I'm like, fuck it. It's that whole fuck it logic that I mentioned many times on this show. It's like, whatever. It's clearly not an accident. Everybody's just going to be moving on. No one's going to be the first person to say, well, this is clearly the actions of a werewolf in town. Because that's not the first thing that I would go to with someone being beheaded.
Yeah, did I black out for the part where we got to how Marty decided it was a werewolf? Because at some point he was talking about it and then went, yeah, so obviously werewolf. And I'm like, what?
You definitely blacked out.
Okay, good. Because I was like, that was a leap from where?
I have it written down in my notes here somewhere.
Good.
Or at least I hope I do. We're about to find out. Got to get through all these fucking notes. But yeah. So I think Stephen King has always understood that denial is one of humanity's strongest survival mechanisms. His characters rarely ignore evil because they're dumb. They ignore it because accepting the truth would shatter their understanding of their world. Again, it's too early for people to recognize this as a werewolf, but they just chalk it up to something else. Something that makes more sense than big bad werewolf.
And I think that's why so many of his stories are so frequently set in
small
towns because the small town mentality is we don't look at the ugly thing.
Yeah.
It is we brush that under the rug. We do not talk about that. Everything is perfect. Everything is fine. And Stephen King really leans into that and how far people are willing to take that notion and what they're willing to pay to keep the idyllic mindset. Like, I mean, Derry is the ultimate example.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Pennywise makes them do that too, but
he a powerful bitch, man. He's super strong.
But no one questions why all the kids go missing.
No.
Like it is, he does very often set this mind of people don't want to look at what they don't understand and what's scary.
They just brush it off.
Yeah, which is why the guy got beheaded by the train that didn't happen.
Exactly. But the thing I love about this movie is that the audience has superior position because we know better, and that creates a dramatic irony in the movie. We're watching the town make all the wrong conclusions while knowing exactly where those mistakes are going to lead. So the body count begins to rise, the movie shifts gear and introduces us to the people whose lives are about to be completely turned upside down, and it does it. I think it does it through a storytelling choice that people have been debating ever since film was released, through the narration. I don't know if I like the narration. I don't know if that happens in Cycle of the Werewolf. Like, the movie opens with Jane clearly as an older woman recalling the events of what's happening. I forgot she was narrating until she picked it back up at like 40 minutes in, and I was like, oh, that's right, you were narrating this.
Stephen King do be living in a narration, so...
I don't know. I think it serves its purpose, but I have mixed feelings about it. It does kind of give it this campfire story, local legend feel, but at the end of the day, it also just doesn't really fit in because it's not used constantly throughout the film. It's the beginning, a part in the middle, and then the end.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know. Do you agree? How do you feel about the narration?
I feel like we would have been fine without it. I also think it was a really random pick for it to be the sister.
Yeah, it's putting it from her perspective kind of doesn't make sense because
she wasn't around for some of the things that if she's telling the story. The thing is if you're telling the story, you have to be present for every event, or you have to explicitly state that you were told about these events later. But if she's not there for half this shit.
Yeah.
So how the hell does she know that he was stuck in the bridge and the preacher was like right on top of him? And how the fuck did she know?
Well, she only was narrating things from. That's why I feel.
But the way it's implied that she's telling the story, she is relaying to us the tale of what happened. That fall. Okay. But you have to be there for everything to know that that's happening. So it would have made more sense for Marty to know and his sister to have relayed the small bits that she was in by herself.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have come from Marty's perspective. And I'm sure reading Cycle of the Werewolf might contextualize things a bit more. But there's also moments where Jane explains things that the movie's already shown us visually. And in those instances, it can feel a little redundant. So I don't know if... Like I said, I need to read the novella. I don't know if it's structured differently. And maybe this is a case of Stephen King writing, trying to do something better. But like, again, I don't know the source material, so I can't compare it to anything.
I also found it really confusing that it appeared that we started in summer, but we ended in fall. But it was kind of unclear. The way they set up the time frame for this happening.
Time frame is terrible.
The time frame setup is so confusing. I'm like, is this over like a week or months? Because they have no clear indicator. You're kind of just supposed to pick up on what's going on around them and maybe piece together a timeline, but their timeline is so difficult to follow. That's
my biggest issue with this movie, and I do have trivia on it that says, where it take like the timeline of how it takes place, but they don't give you anything, and it's very bizarre. Because I really thought at first this was just during the cycle of the full moon, which can last up to 2 to 3 days.
Yep.
And then it kept going, and I'm like, okay, are we in a different month now? And then they're like, it's Halloween. I'm like, when did we start this? Arnie got the fireworks, I remember, because Uncle Red said, you're not going to have fireworks for 4th of July. You're going to have fireworks for September. So I guess we're in September. And then I think the movie opens with like spring of 1976.
It opens at spring.
Yeah.
Then we see them go, school's over, summer school, or like school's over. It's summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it's 4th of July. And then it's
September.
It's September, then it's Halloween.
Yeah, that's
Halloween.
And
there's like, okay, so this took... Everyone's real riled up for what's taking place over several months. And I know a kid died, but also the dragging it out across that many months makes that tension feel really odd. Like if this thing has been killing periodically for months, but now we're all pissed off, and now we're all gonna go out and form a posse to find whatever it is. Today's the day.
Because the cops aren't doing anything.
And the kid died, and it just, because it takes place over such a long time, that tension feels like there was no tension. Everybody form a posse, and then we're back to no tension.
I feel that
for the town.
Well, yeah, I feel that the kid's death was really what set people like on fire. Like, all right, well, you guys, this is like the third death in however many weeks or months. Nothing is happening. A kid has died.
Yeah,
like we got to do something about this. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, this takes place almost over like at least 6 months. So the tension building for the town feels really. It really could have helped with a better, clearer timeline. Like that would have done a lot for the movie, because I think that's what makes it also feel slower. Is if you're watching it and you're trying to figure out what the hell the timeline is, and you're like, oh, this has been going on for like months. Is something gonna like happen? Because we're 4 months into this story, I guess, and nothing's happened except people are dying.
Well, yeah, and I do feel Stephen King does know how to kind of make a town feel alive, but it is a little weird here because, again, there's no set timeline. But when characters rile together and try to stop this madness, I think that's where Stephen King shines. I didn't really mean for that to be a pun, but it is. And his small town storytelling is literally the best. I've always believed that Stephen King's greatest characters aren't like Pennywise or Jack Torrance or Randall Flagg. It's his towns. King has such an incredible ability to create places that feel like they've existed long before our story has begun. And in this case, Tarker's Mill isn't just a collection of houses. It's a functioning community. People know each other. They gossip. They argue. They all attend church. They shop at the same stores, blah, blah, blah. Feels lived in. And I think Stephen King does a great job at that. And I think that's one of the reasons why his horror works so well.
Yeah.
It's because a lot of his movies are set in these small towns or isolated places. If Silverbullet took place in this major city, the murders would still be tragic, but it wouldn't feel as personal. In a place like Tarker's Mill, every death kind of sends out these shock waves throughout the community because everyone has a connection with the victim. So it feels a lot more emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Stephen King always has a strong root in finding something real that everyone can connect to on some level.
What do you feel that
so like in this
movie?
instance, it's like that feels like a real town that would exist.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying
plus great name too. Tarker's Mill is such a great name.
That's why I was saying the connection between characters felt really weak. For them being family, they didn't feel very familial. A lot of the time, like the uncle with Uncle Red with Marty, that felt like, that felt real. And there's the small moments with Marty and Jane.
Yeah, Jane. The sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jane.
And that felt, but like the parents just, there feels like they might as well not exist. They're so detached from each other. And so I think that hurt that story for me. But yeah, with Stephen King's stories, like you take a family with a struggling dynamic and then you isolate them. People know a family where someone's dealing with an issue and and the spouse has to try to cope and there's still a kid involved. That's a real thing that is you go into any neighborhood and that family exists somewhere in that neighborhood. And, kids bonding together and going out on adventures, and having that summer where things, when you grow up, it just doesn't feel like it really happened. But when you were a kid, it feels like the most real moment of your whole life. That's something most people have experienced.
Yeah.
And then you add a clown. Or then you add finding a dead body. He takes these things that feel very human, very real, and then adds something to them, like the loss of a child. That is a real thing. That is something many people can connect with.
What's that one from?
Pet Sematary.
Lost. Oh yeah, Cage.
And then you add, but what if you could bring him back?
Yeah.
And I think that's where Stephen King is really strong, is taking these really core feelings that you know either you've experienced it or you know somebody who has.
Yeah.
And then you add to that, and that's what I think Stephen King is best at.
Well, and I honestly think, I don't know, I think the family deserves a little bit more credit than maybe you might be giving it, because in horror, especially creature features, it's easy to treat the human characters as you know, bodies waiting in line to just be claimed by the monster. But I feel Marty and Jane, they feel like genuine siblings. Their relationship isn't overly sentimental, and that's what makes it believable. Jane gets annoyed with Marty. Marty knows how to push Jane's buttons. They tease each other. They argue. They occasionally drive each other crazy. But then underneath all that is real affection. The whole thing with the money and the pantyhose situation. When the danger becomes personal, I buy into their bond because the movie has already done the work to establish them as feeling like genuine siblings.
Oh no, like I said, there was moments with them that felt really true and rung true as siblings. It's just like there were moments where Jane is repeatedly getting crapped on by her parents for anything. It's like the parents don't exist except when they're telling her she's doing something wrong.
Well, and I think that's because it's from her perspective, so that would make a lot of sense that she has a negative impression of them given her age. Yeah,
and I feel like if we had seen more balance in that somewhere, even in some small moments where her parents talked to her, connected with her, I think it would have felt like a more natural family dynamic. Like we've talked about Poltergeist. Yeah. The thing that makes Poltergeist so great is that feels like a real family. That feels like a family you would go have a barbecue with. They have the right level of connection and love and playfulness, and they feel so genuine. The parents here feel like they were copied and pasted into this story, and that makes the family dynamic feel weaker overall because you have these parents who only talk to shit on Jane or Uncle Red.
Well, there's also instances where Marty's father is extremely overprotective, constantly worrying about what his son can and can't do, and his mother's often finding herself caught between Marty's independence and protecting him from a world that can be so cruel. So I think when you have a kid that's a paraplegic, you are in this very bizarre spot with the things I just mentioned, that kid is kind of your main focus, and that's probably why Jane feels like she's left to the wayside, because Marty is... Again, he's a paraplegic, and they're so worried about what he can and can't do.
And I'm going to see you on that.
Okay.
And raise you.
Me.
Then why the fuck would they give him a wheelchair with a motor attached to it and not even make him wear any sort of safety restraints or helmet?
Counterpoint, they gave him a motorized wheelchair that didn't go that fast. Uncle Red gave him the fucking motorcycle.
But they're letting him take it on 2-lane roads. They are telling him he can take it to and from school, which means they are fine with him taking an illegal motorized device.
It's the 70s, man.
But no, they're that worried that if his sister picks on him, she immediately gets pounced on. Mm-hmm. But they don't give him any safety measures on his motorized wheelchair, and then they just let him go to and fro as he pleases, and he is personally responsible for putting gas in that fucking thing.
Yeah.
You're worried about his safety, but you have no fucking clue where this kid is.
He does disappear.
And you literally have him in a motorized device without safety equipment. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't feel if you're that protective over your kid that you won't even let someone badmouth him, you're not letting your kid anywhere near something like that. He's already paraplegic, and that chair is 1 second away from breaking his neck and full on paralyzing him, and they just let him go wherever with it. So they can't be that friggin' concerned about it. So I'm saying they don't feel like authentic parents, and I think that's what hurt the overall dynamic of the characters for me.
Fine. Can you agree that the family drama never overshadows the horror, and the horror doesn't erase the family dynamic?
Yeah.
So at least it's balanced in some sort of way?
Yeah. The siblings sticking together when times are tough is very on brand for siblings. Like, my brother and I used to bug the bejesus out of each other, but if I was scared, my brother would be there for me. My brother sat with me on the phone when I was having distressing situations and talked me through it, even though as kids, he would make fun of me constantly. There's a line, and these siblings know that line. Like, you bug the shit out of each other, but you're still ride or die for your sibling. And I think that really works. And Uncle Red does feel like that uncle who rolls in just to do a bunch of wacky shit, probably cause a little trouble, and then dip out of town again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would have, and I think if they had, he didn't believe them so much in this movie. Like, he didn't believe them up till the damn thing, like Kool-Aid Man through the damn wall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I think that only works because they're kids.
Right.
Because if they were full-grown adults, it really would have pissed me off that he didn't believe them.
Yeah, and I really enjoy Uncle Red. He sounds like a terrible idea on paper. He's loud, he's impulsive, he drinks too much, telling inappropriate jokes, but
So he's Gary Busey. So he's Gary Busey.
But he kind of turns into the emotional heart of the film, and even though he doesn't stop drinking entirely, I really do appreciate when he's called on his shit by Nan. And is like, you cannot, he's impressionable. You can't just be drinking around him. He does stop drinking in front of him. There's that moment in the church, too, where he goes to, like, when they have, like, the 4 caskets of all the people that have died. And he pulls out a flask, and then he looks over at Marty, and then he puts the flask back. I was like, okay, so he's at least being respectful of not drinking around the kid. But he's just like that fun uncle that everybody wants to have. And he built him this really cool motorcycle wheelchair, which is literally one of the most badass things that has ever come out of the 80s. It is probably one of the coolest vehicles in like horror history, I'd say, or like, at least from the 80s or whatever. It is, it's a rocket shaped motorized engine, pulling wheelies and shit, flying by cars on the road. It's such a great, like, I just like what it represents, because throughout the movie, Marty's constantly being told what he can't do, and then his wheelchair becomes this thing of, I mean, it's dangerous, but I stop with the faces, but he's racing around, he's exploring, he goes places nobody expects him to. The silver bullet kind of becomes a symbol of independence for Marty, and also silver bullet is right on brand with the whole thing about werewolves and the silver bullet. So yeah, double meaning on the name. But yeah, I really enjoy that. I think the whole design of the wheelchair is a lot of fun, even though it's completely unsafe.
Oh, it's so unsafe.
But going back to what I was the werewolf itself, because obviously that's the main topic at hand here. For much of the movie, like I mentioned, the werewolf exists in fragments: a claw, like a scratch, a silhouette, a blur rushing in the darkness. And because the movie withholds the full reveal, I feel that every attack feels unpredictable. Especially when he goes to up to that lady's house who's pregnant,
yes,
and like
out of wedlock,
and the guy is like, this is your problem, you have the baby, and you're like, classic man being a piece of shit. Now I don't know. Oh, that's right. I guess he would know that because he is the priest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's why he went there. But I don't know how he knew that she was planning on killing herself. Because
I'm guessing he overheard.
Okay. Because the whole reason he kills her is to save her from purgatory or hell or whatever, because they're Catholics. Mm-hmm. So, suicide in that religion is not viewed very well. So he went there to kill her he could save her soul. And I love this idea of weaponizing religion through werewolfism. That's fucking so insane.
I was like, yeah, no, you can't commit suicide, but I can do murder?
Yeah, I can do murder. Well, it was to save her soul. So
apparently not his own.
I absolutely love that. I feel like the approach here kind of mirrors Jaws, and Spielberg understands that hiding the shark made it more frightening than showing it, even if technical limitations played a role. But here it's a guy in a suit, and that's what I love about it. It's a guy in a suit with an animatronic face, so they don't really have a reason to hide it. But I feel them hiding it and only showing it in glimpses only works. it works better because by the time you get that full reveal in the attic and you see the werewolf, with the shot out eye and the fireworks, I think it's just so effective. And you get a good enough transformation. Is it the best? Absolutely not. But it is still a transformation nonetheless. I would argue that the transformation back into a human was better.
That was fun.
That was fun. You don't typically see that in every werewolf movie. Like American Werewolf in London, he just get, spoilers for that movie. He gets shot, and then the next scene is just him as a human.
Which is pretty typical for werewolf movies. Is they are werewolf, cut away, cut back people.
Yeah, but I love the de-transformation that they have in this movie. like I said, is the werewolf transformation on the same level as Rick Baker's American Werewolf in London? No. Is it as grotesque and animalistic as the creatures in The Howling? Also no. But it doesn't need to be. Like at this point, this is 1985. We've seen great transformations before. This is a transformation that works well enough, gives you enough glimpses of him transforming, and then you get the full creature, and I think it works very well. And the fact that, again, it is the Reverend that's been doing this the entire time is such a great aspect of the film because it reframes everything you've watched up to this point. Now, you said you didn't see it coming, but it did make sense because he was the only one to have that dream about werewolves in the church.
Yeah, that was very specific a dream to have.
Did you have, but you said when you saw, because the Jane eventually goes looking around town for someone with damage to their eye because Marty lit a fire, or Marty, right? Yeah, Marty lit a firework off and it hit the werewolf's eye. So they're going around and Jane's like, I can't believe he made me do that. I'm never going to find this person. And the way they reveal it too is so good because the Reverend's like, oh yeah, just go in there and grab the bottles. And then the camera, dollies over and it's him doing some gardening and then bam, patch on the eye. And you're like, oh shit, he's the werewolf. Yeah. So did that reveal work for you? Is that something you liked or disliked, or what are your thoughts?
Once they didn't show his because every other time you saw him, you just straight up, it was here he is standing in the
because he did like a half turn to talk to her, and you're like,
so once he's bending down facing away from her, doesn't turn. I'm like, well, werewolf.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like
and I thought that was fun because after a while they were really building up the whole her looking into everybody's eyes, which apparently they found the craziest eyed people for this. And everybody was making crazy eyes at her.
You'd seen everyone before; they looked normal, but now when she's looking in their eyes, they're all just like,
"Is everybody stoned?
What is happening?"
That was fun, But once he didn't turn around, I'm like, well, werewolf.
Yeah, werewolf.
Man, werewolf.
Well, and I love it because it's like Stephen King's asking the question, what if the people we're supposed to trust the most are the ones we should actually be fearing? And that plays on many levels with the pastor.
Yeah.
Especially in today's climate with,
Yeah, werewolves have kind of two options when it comes to who's the werewolf. It can either be a story about someone fighting the thing they can't control and finding time to try to save themselves from the fate that's about to befall them. Or it's who is it? Because werewolves are people during the day. It's not vampires. Vampires, who's never coming out at night? Or who's never coming out during the daytime? Who's not eating? Who can you... it's proving that person who's doing suspicious shit is the vampire. Werewolves, you can't tell who it is when they're werewolfing. So
that's true.
It's always who could it be? Who is it that you? And it's always a person you've trusted or has been close to you, and you've just never noticed.
Well, I had the notes. How do you undo here? I just had the notes that said Marty. Oh yeah, doesn't he think it's a werewolf when he runs into the fucking werewolf? Isn't that when Marty's like, it's a werewolf?
Yeah, but before that, he said, I think, what if it was a werewolf? And it was like, bro, how did the... Yeah, because once you're face to face with a fucking werewolf, it's the big wolfman thing. That's probably werewolf.
Well, I couldn't...
But I'm saying prior to that, he was like, anyways, I'm kind of thinking it's a werewolf. And I'm like, did I black out for part of this conversation? Where did he get that?
Maybe I did not.
It could be that the attacks were happening on the full moon or whatever, which means he's a very observant kid if that's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because most kids would be like, yeah, those attacks happen At times.
At times and things.
I mean, when you're that age, it's like Halloween happens every 10 years because you're like, God, when will it be Halloween again? And for us, it's like, oh, shit, Halloween's like 3 months from now. That's like in 20 minutes.
Right. Well, speaking of Halloween, that's where this movie decides to end, which is a great choice, even though, and that's one of my other problems with this movie. Ending is very quick.
Yes, it's so fast.
It's a little fast.
I would say we spent a lot of time building up for this, and it was like, all right, bing, bang, boom, and we're out of here. Over. Bye.
But not before Gary Busey gets thrown into every piece of fucking furniture in that house. Like a cabinet, a mirror, another cabinet. Maybe it was the same one, just reversed shot. But yeah.
There's 10 to 12 mirrors in that room.
Yeah. But the thing I love about, even though it is very short-lived, the thing I love about it is that they use the silver bullet created by the guy at the gun store, and when Marty uses it, he shoots him in the other eye. So he's already got eye trauma from the firework, and then he gets a silver bullet in the other eye, and I thought that was fucking great. I was like, fucking eye trauma is the theme of this movie, apparently.
Yeah, but it was just so fast. He's like, he busts in there like the Kool-Aid man, throws Gary Busey around while the two kids try not to get murderated. In between times, Gary Busey stands back up to get thrown around some more. And then they're like, furiously, I mean, the werewolf doesn't even try to dodge that shot. He just stands there and he's like, yeah, I need you to scoot a little to the right because I'm trying to line this up point blank at your face. I can't aim because my legs don't work. So if you could just get a little closer, that would be great.
My legs, they don't work.
It was just so funny to me. I was like, damn, has that kid shot a gun ever? Because any person on planet Earth who's never shot a gun before is not hitting their target on the first run.
And that was a pretty big gun. I'm just saying.
That thing should have popped him in the fucking face.
Yeah, I don't recall there being any recoil on that, but yeah.
There was no recoil. And again, they loaded it expertly. And it's a revolver. I can tell you, I've held guns before. I couldn't, for the life of you, tell you how to get the bullet to the appropriate spot on a revolver on the first run.
It's very simple. You throw it in there and you just spin it until it lines up and then you pull the hammer back.
But the assumption is that they know that. They know how to pull the hammer back. They know how to aim it.
It's the 70s,
and shoot it.
70s, man.
Dude, I mean, to be fair, his overprotective parents are letting him run around on a thing that should essentially kill him. So why wouldn't they let him play with guns? I mean, he's lighting fucking fireworks half an inch from his face, so he's clearly not that worried about death.
I knew how to use guns at a very young age. I mean, my dad didn't have fucking revolvers, but he had guns, and I knew how to load and unload them and clean them and stuff like that. So it's not that uncommon.
The only time I got the gun speech was when my parents lived in an apartment complex, and my dad's like, just in case, here's how you kill people. I'm like, oh
wow.
Cool, Dad. Thanks
for that.
Safety first.
Couple things I want to mention here, and then we'll wrap up because I think we've covered this pretty well. Yep. Two scenes I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the fog scene where everyone's out there in this field and there's this thick layer of fog and the werewolf is essentially reaching up and pulling people down. That was an incredible scene. I also really enjoyed the church nightmare because you get a whole bunch of werewolf transformations in that, and it almost felt like they were doing that to just kind of, since we're only going to get the one from the preacher, let's just have a whole bunch of random people turning into werewolves. That was a lot of fun. The lighting was also really fun there as well. That was another great scene. A couple things that didn't work. Like I mentioned, the timeline feels a little fuzzy. I do have trivia on that, but it was like, has this been weeks, months? What's going on? The narration doesn't always trust the audience. As I mentioned earlier, I like Jane's narration to a point, but I don't feel like it was necessary. And again, I haven't read Cycle of the Werewolf. It's not a major flaw, but it's a creative choice that just didn't really click for me. There was also a lot of, ableist language in this. People were kind of just throwing that.
Scoots McGee.
throwing that at Marty there, which wasn't great. And also, Marty apparently has superpowers because he's fucking climbing trees. He's climbing out a second-story window. Every time that happened, I'm like, are we sure the werewolf isn't the second most unbelievable thing in this movie? Or are we impressed with the upper body strength of this kid?
I really want you to think about how he got into that tree in the first place, because it is high. That branch is higher up than his arm reach.
Yeah, because when Jane gets him down, she literally has about 3 feet before his butt is in the chair. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
You have to have some function in your leg for that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people with wheelchairs who can do absolutely crazy things. I'm saying what he did not feel believable.
No.
Because there are some people who absolutely do a lot with just arms.
Right. And then, of course, the 80s had, I'd say an incredible run of werewolf films. You had American Werewolf, you had The Howling, you had Teen Wolf, which was more of a coming-of-age comedy. But I feel Silver Bullet occupies a completely different lane. It is less interested in showcasing the monster than it is exploring the community forced to live alongside it. It is essentially Stephen King's version of a classic universal monster filtered through the fascination with childhood, memory, and small-town America, and I think that's why it works. It's not trying to outdo Rick Baker's effects. It's not trying to reinvent werewolf mythology. It is simply telling a really good Stephen King story that happens to feature a werewolf, and honestly, I think that's enough. I'm pretty sure that's the only werewolf the thing he's done. I think. He's written so much stuff. But anyways, I think that is all I have. Is that all you have?
Yeah.
So, then, and the reason I picked this is because it's never going to be the first werewolf movie people mention, but I think it deserves to be part of the conversation. It has its warts, but more than 40 years later, I still think it's an extremely underrated werewolf movie that, if you haven't seen, you should see. So with all of that being said, let's move on to the final cut. Taglines, it started in May in a small town, and every month after that, whenever the moon was full, it came back. Whenever darkness falls, terror rises. Part human, part wolf, total terror, and he makes evil an event.
These are all terrible taglines.
Yeah, they are.
The first one is so long.
According to director Daniel Attias, Gary Busey ad-libbed a great deal. For instance, when Uncle Red is in the gun shop, Attias checked with Stephen King, who said okay for these ad-lib scenes to be included. Shooting started without a proper werewolf suit.
I believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too. Complete construction of the werewolf costume took 3 months. After finalization of the shape and design using 3-dimensional clay heads, the entire costume was made of foam and polyurethane and was covered with actual bear hair.
And I believe that.
The head of the costume was mechanically operated by 6 people from a distance of up to 30 feet away. Brady's father mentions the Harmony Hill Cemetery. This is another tie-in to a Stephen King adaptation, Salem's Lot, 1979. And in Cycle of the Werewolf, the story on which this film is based, the events take place over the course of a year. A murder was committed by the werewolf once a month. In the film, the murders occur over the course of several months from spring to autumn. So there you go.
Extremely unclear.
Some great fucking goofs here. Oh my God. A shopkeeper places a sign in his window announcing the availability of Remington shotguns in single action and double action. Shotguns may either be single or double barrel, but they are never described as single or double action. Only revolvers and certain automatic pistols are described in this way. The newspaper date showing Friday, September 8th, 1980. That date actually fell on a Monday. Thanks, nerd. When Jane goes into Reverend Lowe's garage, among the large pile of empty soda containers are some Diet Coke cans. Diet Coke did not exist in 1976, in the year in which the movie is set. Mr. Fairton was a witness to the massacre of the lynch mob in the swamp. He saw people being tossed around and ripped apart by something not human. He even saw large hairy claws ripping apart Mr. Aspinall's face. But still, people think it's an ordinary psycho killer when he can verify that it's not human. The only other time he's shown, he's acting calmly as if nothing ever happened. At the very least, he should be scared enough to move or stay indoors.
I'd agree with that feeling.
Rated 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb for our purposes of the Nightmare Index. That is a 3.2 out of 5. Also having a 3.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. 40% on the tomato meter, 50% audience score. None of these people understand the assignment. What did you give this?
3.5.
I'll take a 3.5. Right now it stands at a 4 for me, but it could probably go up. But we'll keep it at a 4 for now. That gives us a Nightmare Index of 3.48, which means this is sitting at the number 12 spot, just above The Resurrected at a 3.45, and just underneath Deadstream at a 3.63. That feels honestly like a very good spot for this movie.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Similar movies according to IMDb. These all make sense. Cat's Eye, Cujo, Graveyard Shift, Needful Things, and Creepshow. All things done by Stephen King.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck Letterboxd is on, but similar movies according to Letterboxd. Children of the Corn. Sure. Jeepers Creepers, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, and Halloween 1978.
That's all right.
Fucking what?
Something attacking children, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, man. You got some funny reviews?
I got a few.
How many do you have?
3.
3. I've got 4, so I guess I'll go first. Let's see. 3 stars from Patrick Williams. Do you have that one?
Nope.
Perfect. I wish the third act was a little longer because the conceit of, quote, we literally only have one silver bullet and that's it, is so good.
Yeah. 4.5 stars from Michaela. The Reverend is giving Cillian Murphy, which is hilarious because I also thought that while I was watching that. I was like, if we remade this, Cillian Murphy would be this character because he looks just like him.
It wasn't like it was driving me crazy, but the entire movie I was like, he looks like someone, and
Cillian
I looked it up and I was like, oh, he was in Twin Peaks. That's why I know him. No, it's Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, because I thought that while I was watching the movie too. I was like, oh, somebody else saw it. Okay, cool.
4 stars from Jason Alley, because he's got a pride flag. Corey Haim in a rocket-powered wheelchair and Gary Busey as his drunk uncle versus a werewolf and a story by Stephen King. Good times. It's slow in some spots, but mostly it's a blast.
Yeah. 2.5 stars from Anthony. His name is Tiny.
Okay.
When you order the howling werewolf costume from Temu.
Oh, no, I will die on this hill. That fucking werewolf is a 10 out of 10 werewolf.
Oh, okay.
All right, whatever. 3.5 stars from Lucia. Microdosing Catholicism by feeling cryptically remorseful without cause.
3.5 stars from Bummer Buddy.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
All right.
If I were a drag queen, my name would be Harry Busey.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. You are
Watson LMP 90.
Booyah! If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, be sure to check out the Shameless Picture Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental as well. Next week, Derek and I will be doing The Wolfman from 2010 as our deep cut pick. It is streaming on Cinemax, HBO Max, and YouTube TV. And I know I'm already probably pissing everybody else off. How is The Wolfman from 2010 a deep cut? Explain to them, Gabby, what is our argument with why this is a deep cut?
It's only a deep cut because despite being a large production, big budget film,
with huge names.
With absolutely huge names. Nobody talks about this movie anymore.
No one.
It just kind of happened and then blipped out of existence. And,
correct.
And I remember seeing it in theaters, so I just want to give it a rewatch to see what I think of it now.
And Derek also saw it in theaters, and that was the last time he saw it. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it. I didn't even know it was a movie until Scream Factory put out the 4K a while back, and I bought it because I was like, fuck yeah, I want to see this. All these names look great. So that is why we're considering this our deep cut pick.
Because it is something that got lost to time.
Yeah. It's very popular. If you look at the ratings on IMDb, it's got a lot of ratings, but everyone has just forgotten about this, I feel. So until next week, guys, stay tuned and
Stay spooky.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description